Today I'm finally going to redo my 29 gallon. There's a pretty bad glare over here from this window, but we're going to let it go because I'm home from work today. As you can see, it's got a lot of dirtiness in here that we're going to get rid of. I bought these plants a couple of weeks ago, threw them in here, up to and including this jungle val and that small jungle val, which is actually already starting to sprout about. There are a couple of bristlenose in here, and there are also, you can see them in the back there, a few Bolivian rams. There's 3 of them. So I'm going to see what I can do to get those guys out of here. This used to be where I kept the bluegill, but I don't anymore. As you can see, the back wall is pretty rough, side walls. I'm going to see what I can do to clean it up, but I'm not taking it off of this stand just because it'll be a pain in the behind to do that. But yeah, we're going to get this thing going. I'm going to go ahead and get all these stem plants planted, get that val planted, get that val planted. I've got a lotus bulb in here, though I don't know what happened to it. I can't find it in the sand, but I've got another one that I've been growing out in a different aquarium that I'll probably bring over here. And like I said, this jungle val is actually doing what it's supposed to do already. That jungle val I just never planted. But we're going to get going. First thing I'm going to do is empty a bunch of this water. It'll help for 2 things. It'll give me some place to go ahead and clean all these rocks up in, and obviously it'll give me an opportunity to clean up some of the muck. Alright, I've been able to get the vast majority of all the growths off of the sand on the bottom. Unfortunately, with black sand, every little bit you do kind of see. As you can see, I got some frog bit up there. I got the roots from the pothos going in there now. This thing's doing awesome. It's growing another bit there. I know that's got a name, but I can't think of it right now. Yeah, so we're going to keep moving on here. Start putting everything back. Get the plants in there. Clean up all the old the hardscape, put it back, and I think we're keeping that sponge filter out of there for right now, because I would prefer to have the roots actually going down into the substrate. Oh yeah, this guy does not care about water. Alright, first things we're going to put in this sword plant here. I'm going to put this sort of all the way over here to the side. See if we can't cover up that filter a little bit. Not that we necessarily need to, but you know, it might be nice. Now I got like 2 or 3 inches of black sand in here, which I'm hoping is going to be able to hold most of these plants down, but only time will tell. Alright, next we have these. They're the Renekii, or however it is that you call them. This is background plant, but I got the jungle val for that, so we'll see how this does towards the front here. Oh, it's got a bunch of stems in here too, so that's nice. It's got all of these stems. Hopefully it actually stays red. But it looks like it's probably going to be time to go ahead and move this jungle val back. Like I said, this one is sort of doing what it's doing, you know? It's already got the shoot that came off of here, which is nice. I'm going to put that right back here. That's going to be fun to try to get back there. We'll see what that does. Luckily, we've got this big jungle val as well, which we're going to put back there. This has still got the plant weight on it. I don't know that it needs it, doesn't need it, but take it off. It does have, what, several different stalks here. So we're gonna put one on the side of that other little one, and we'll put one over here in front of the heater. Now, I'm not gonna put anything specifically in front of the filter all the way because I'm actually gonna put a cave there in case these Bolivian rams ever decide that they wanna spawn at all. These 3 haven't in the year that I've had them, but I do have 2 more on the way, so maybe we'll get a pair out of that. All right, so it looks like we got all that stuff going. That's nice. Go ahead and pile up some of the sand towards the back here. I'm also going to try to level the sand out some to better hold those rocks once I put them back in. Unfortunately, the Plecos have sort of had their way and were burying themselves under the rocks, so they were starting to float up a little bit. Well, I guess not float up, they are after all rocks, but they were starting to not have any substrate underneath them anymore. And no, I'm not putting that on top of that snail, so no need to worry about that. I'm going to put this very similarly to the way I had it, just because I did like it that way, otherwise I wouldn't have had it. I did clean these rocks up just now, so hopefully they'll start to look a little bit better without much time taking place. Another Java fern, got these things everywhere. More frog bit right here, which hopefully now that I get that sponge filter out of there, pothos or pothos will flow all the way down, the roots will get caught, and we'll go ahead and get these frog bit floating around a little bit more too, because with the pothos being right up at the surface, they weren't really having much luck. All right, next I'm going to put my driftwood back in. And I actually really liked this scape, which is why I'm not doing a whole lot to change it. I'm just basically, I guess, sort of updating it at this point. It didn't have any more plants in there other than the Java fern. So it wasn't really able to, didn't really have that look to it. I'm gonna put this there, just literally as a little bit of an interactive hardscape for all the fish to play around on and or in. Let's see, get that jungle valve, can't speak, out of there. All right, I like that. That looks pretty good. What do we have left here? Got to get the cave. So this is not a very natural looking cave, which is why I'm gonna try to slide it as far back there as I can. Look, that jungle valve already came out. I hope that doesn't continue to be a problem, although it may, because this is actually just the Harbor Freight sand that's not really sand. Let's see, where's that other jungle valve? Lastly, we're going to put in this little lotus bulb. I've been growing this out in another aquarium, and I think it'll be perfect in the center right here. Now the trick is to not bury those quite all the way, but get close. And it should have no problem growing in here. I grow it in the vast majority of my aquariums, actually. So anyway, I got those lotus bulbs in pretty much all of my aquariums, up to and including the blood parrot one at work. So they're pretty hardy. They last a while. Let's see, I'm going to try to rearrange that. Hopefully that kind of sticks where it's at. I like that positioning. It's not really meant to do anything other than just make it a little bit nicer for the fish, have something to interact with. I believe that's everything. I'm going to start filling this back up with water. I'll put some root tabs in for the things that require them, and let's see what happens. All right, that's what it looks like right now. We'll come back to it later on this evening when there's not the tremendous glare that is currently existing inside of this room due to the massive amount of windows. But yeah, I mean, that filter is running, it's clearing things up. I'm gonna have to keep assisting it for the next couple hours, I think, but hey, it's looking pretty darn good if you ask me. We got that jungle valve back there. Can't wait for that lotus to grow up, because it will. Sword, we'll see what happens, and then these red stems, we'll see what happens there. So here we are. Come back in a few hours. All right, it's been a couple of hours, and you can see all the pearling happening on all the different plants. This is all the stuff that was kind of left over after I put it all back together. I'm gonna have to just keep brushing that stuff off and hope that it goes into the filter at some point here, because it definitely gives it a weird look. But plants are they seem to be enjoying everything. There's one of the rams. There's one of the mystery snails. There's another ram hanging right there. One of my Java ferns already left and went up there to the roots. And of course, these guys have already figured out how to get into the caves that aren't really caves. So anyhow, it's looking pretty good. We'll check back in when there's no glare whatsoever. Here's the 29, 3 days later. See, the rams are still hanging out in there. I actually had to move one of them out. He had a problem with his eye a couple days after doing this, so he's in a hospital aquarium right now. Pleco, that Pleco went ahead and dug out right underneath that rock, and now we got the snail chilling on this mountain of sand that Pleco made. The other Pleco's right there. That snail's pulling down those plants, but everything's doing good. Roots have dropped down from the pothos that I was hoping they would. Jungle Val, I think, is probably going to end up doing all right. It's still growing in the back there. It's starting to sprout back out. The sword, we've only got a couple of leaves that are dying off there. So yeah, I think I really like it. I think once it grows in, this is going to be a pretty amazing looking tank. Be good to each other, go be awesome and do awesome things.